Hi, this is John with The Evolving World. Today I'm doing a video on removing a front sway bar, otherwise known as an anti-roll bar. Sometimes it's called a stabilizer bar, off a Fiat 500e. I've looked at doing this for quite some time, and I believe that the benefits outweigh the negatives. And so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing to do is to disable the links that are tied to the suspension. Especially if you just want to experiment around, this is the first step that you can do, and just try it out and then see if it works for you. Then you can proceed on with the next step of actually removing it. But if you want to just try it out, it's actually really easy to do. You don't even have to lift up the car or anything. All you have to do, we're obviously on the right side of the car here, so we do the right side first. All you have to do is turn your steering wheel to the left all the way, and you have plenty of access in here. And all you're going to need is a 16mm wrench and a socket. This is 5/8, so this is actually almost exactly the same size, so that will work as well. And then what we're going to be doing is, down here, as you can see, try to get in here. So yeah, this is the sway bar right here. It ties back to the other side. And these links right here, this silver thing going up here, it's real easy to just take this link off. And it ties up to the suspension up there. As you can see, it's right here. So all you're going to need is that wrench to get in here and just take that nut off. And then that bolt should just pop right out. And then down here, you should be able to just loosen, do the same thing. So I needed to use all these tools here to get it out. Added this 5mm Allen key here to get in here and get to the corners. Or the end of this fits in here like this, because sometimes this thing will twist on you. It will lock up, so you have to kind of brace it, stick it in here on the end, as so. And then you can use your wrench to get the lower one. Was really tricky. The upper one's easy, but the lower one was a little bit tricky. So anyway, that's our link out right now. And I'm going to mark this. I'm going to say what it is, which side is up, mark it real clearly, so in case I want to reverse this, I can. And this is what it looks like down here now. Let me see if I get in here. So you can see the sway bar is just floating now. Okay, so I got the left side out now. You definitely need this 5mm Allen wrench here to lock it, otherwise you'll just keep twisting and twisting and twisting on this thing and nothing will happen. You have to lock it with this and then use your 16mm wrench to take the nut off, especially the lower one. So anyway, this is what it looks like. So the bar is just hanging now. It's not tied to the suspension at all. It's just dead weight really at this point. So this is a good time to experiment with the car and see how it drives without it connected. Okay, so now that we decided we're going to go ahead and take this sway bar off, it's actually kind of interesting. It's actually completely stable, you know, with those links off and everything. You can actually, I've been driving the car for about a week or so with them off and everything, and this thing doesn't move, it doesn't touch anything. You can actually, if you want to just disconnect it and leave it, and then just, if you decide later on, in a year or two later, maybe you just want to reconnect it for resale purposes, you might just want to leave it the way it is and just stop at step 1. But step 2 for us is actually removing this guy. So I've put some lights in here. I don't know if you can kind of see. It kind of goes all the way back over here. My finger's pointing to. It's kind of a articulated kind of shape. If you can kind of see it here. I'm going to try to get in here with the camera. But you can kind of see how it's kind of in there. And then it comes out here and over here.
So I only had to take off 2 of these body panel bolts. It's just holding this plastic piece in here. I just did the front. You don't have to do the back. You get plenty of access. All you need is access to get to these holes right here. And then you just use a 10mm socket, about that long. I love this little impact wrench I got. This thing is awesome. It's perfect for this type of scenario. It's compact enough, just fits right in. And you just back the thing right out. And these things come out. They got these kind of star pattern bolts, but you can just use a regular 10mm. It works. You don't need to have a special wrench for it or anything. And with those coming out, that loosens this guy up. And that's this side. Now we'll go ahead and do the other side. So now that this is all nice and loose, you can kind of maneuver it around a little bit, but it's really, really tight in there. I mean, it was obviously installed with the whole subframe. I can't see any way to remove it. I tried twisting it around. It only goes down to a certain position. I still can't get it out. It might be possible to take these tie rod ends off, tape them up out of the way, depending on how much I can get them out of the way. I might be able to maneuver. I don't know. It looks pretty sketchy one way or the other. I don't really want to waste a lot of time on it. I mean, some of these bushings, they're getting kind of close to the boots right here. I don't want to scratch them, and I certainly don't want to damage my CV joints or anything. This is getting really close to hitting that too. I mean, last thing I want to do is create a bunch of damage. So I'm sure I'm sure somebody watching this will correct me and tell me there's probably a way to get this out without having to cut it. But I think this is going to be a one-way project. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut it, just do the easy way, because I like it simple. Time is money, and I don't want to waste any more time on it. So I think what I'll do is I'll just cut this right at this joint right here, and then I should be able to pull it right out pretty easy. Okay, as you can see, it is now completely out and gone. It was not the easiest procedure to do in the world, but not difficult either. So here it is right here. That's all the tools you need to do it. I used a cutoff wheel on an edge grinder. Seems to work pretty quickly. I mean, it makes a lot of sparks. You make sure you wear proper protection. Face shield, mask, eye protection, ear protection, all that stuff, and you'll be fine. But yeah, we had to cut it not once, but twice actually. Unfortunately, it was really in there. I mean, I don't know how they install that thing. I really don't. It's like, I mean, there must be a technique. Like I said, if you want to take off the shock absorber, the tie rod ends, some of this other stuff, I mean, I don't know. I tried turning the steering wheel to the left and right. Didn't make any difference. It's like, maybe you could take off. I'm sure you could take the whole subframe off. I mean, if you want to really take off the... That'd be crazy. But anyway, it's done. I'm happy. I'm not going to be going back in, obviously. No chance of reversing it, but that's fine with me, because this car is a keeper, and I like how it drives without it, so I'm going to be quite happy. So let's go ahead and weigh this sucker, and then I think that will be pretty much it. So I actually did the tech procedure about 2.5 months ago, maybe about just under 2,000 miles ago. So I've been driving the car for quite some time with the mod already done. And so yeah, I don't have any regrets or anything. I think it's really beneficial for myself. Like I said, I don't really track the car or anything. So for me, the benefits are ride. It's a little bit smoother ride. You get better isolation on the both of the front wheels. I mean, there's nothing tying the wheels together, so they're more independent. And then the noise, I noticed the noise is quite a bit. There's less clanky noise when you go over potholes and such. And the only negative is the high-speed cornering is not as good. And so what that means is, you know, under any real high speed, like if you're getting on a freeway ramp, like an on-ramp, like a cloverleaf, and you're trying to, you know, it's usually like 25 miles an hour or something, and you want to go 35 or 40, I'll notice that when I'm going really fast in hard cornering, the car does lean a little bit more going into a corner. But it's not that much. Like you're just driving around like a corner like that back there, it wasn't really all that, you know. The lower speed stuff, it really doesn't make any difference. It still handles just fine. I mean, there is a little bit more lean, but just ever so slightly. And that's really the only negative. Last thing I would do is would be to upgrade it and make it harder, because that does nothing. I mean, that would just make the ride even firmer. I know they sell a lot of
there's a lot of companies that sell aftermarket sway bars, making a whole bunch of promises about how the performance is so much better and everything. And yeah, maybe on the track, you know, but I mean around town, the Tesla Model X, you know, around town here, it's like it doesn't. You're just gonna have an incredibly choppy ride. I mean, this car already has a very firm suspension, so you know, softening it slightly is a benefit to me. So anyway, hope you enjoyed watching this video. Hope you found it informative, and please like and subscribe. Many more videos to come.